Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I am once again joined by Konstantinos from Para Bellum Wargames to take a look at another spotlight into the world of Conquest. And this time we're talking about memories, specifically no end to their memories, which is an interesting and in some respects mournful little tale about the Dweghom. So I suppose the first thing that struck me when I read the spotlight was it sort of gives a window into the culture and thoughts of the Dweghom and how they perceive loss and the passing of people or clans or whole areas. The fact that they like to know what happened, what was their story from the moment of their inception until their final days. Is that something you were aiming for with the?
Yeah, it is part of the very culture, as you said, of the Dweghom, that memories hold special significance to them, especially great memories, which are preserved at all times. I think we always thought that it makes sense since we made a decision that Dweghom have this near or not even near, but perfect memories about events, and that they have become such a significant part of their culture. Like even the AGM system is based on the memories of deeds that you have performed, and those are rewarded with AGM, or award rather, AGM. We thought exactly that. What does that practically mean? And in small things or bigger things, from an individual whose fate remains unknown, in a way they cannot be pronounced dead because no one remembers their death. So that is a horrible fate for a Dweghom, which is why it's even, in some ways, it's more terrifying than being forgotten, which is when you are struck out of all records, you are no longer worthy to be called Dweghom, you are cast out of the hold, and nobody ever speaks your name again. You are forgotten. They choose, which is also why it is an insult when it says, "I don't remember your name." It's an insult. Of course, you remember my name. It's just you don't give it any significance. You don't put the effort to remember my name. So we thought that this could be another angle from which we can approach the memory significance for the Dweghom culture. So not knowing someone's end, not specifically remembering their end, in a way means they're not dead. Because if there is no memory of the event, then the event maybe never happened.
Hasn't happened, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, of course, practically, when they think about, what happened to those people and those 3 clans, everybody knows, or everybody can be quite certain about it. But until they are absolutely certain, they cannot be considered truly dead and be remembered for their ends, because their ends are unclear.
Would that extend further then if, so for example, the lost hosts and clans, that for all intents and purposes they're gone, but nobody knows for certain, would that prevent other clans and hosts from taking their land, or are the Dweghom more pragmatic in that respect? There's mineral rich area there, currently nobody's in it, we're having it.
I think that this starts from before that, like in the sense they wouldn't try to dominate or take over, because resources is not really what they're after. So they would definitely try and wage war if the circumstances were that, or led to that. They would definitely try to wage war to take over a hold, but it wouldn't be the hold that was their purpose. It would be the clan inside and the beef they have with them, let's say.
Yeah, sure.
And the AGM that they would award by defeating them, they would get by defeating them. So an empty hold is going to be left empty because it holds no special significance to clans other than the clan that inhabited and created it, unless, of course, during a host, for whatever reason, they decide to take shelter. And that is a prime, it's open, we go, there is no insult in that, but there's also no drive to claim it when it's empty. Like, unless someone can track their lineage, which they generally don't keep track of in that sense,
Sure.
into the sense that I am a member of that clan, so therefore that hold is mine, or
Right.
is my clan, so I can go in that hold. But that would be a very different thing. It also makes a difference to the fact that we know that a hold was once in the very western edge of the 100 Kingdoms, and northwestern, had been taken over by the exiles, specifically spires and possibly weavers and interchange hands, and that the Dweghom would not abide. That is an insult. That is something that they need to reclaim, not because of the hold itself, but because, well, the agm of throwing away the ones that occupied a Dweghom hold, but also because no exile should be in a Dweghom hold.
Yeah.
Period.
Makes sense. An interesting part of this was the fact that even with the sort of long memories of the Dweghom and their insistence on knowing how everything fits, where they fit in, and how their clans have behaved, and the reasons around certain things like wars taking place, the fact that these clans sort of went during a period of such turmoil that even they can't remember if all the clans and hosts were lost at the same time. Were they lost for the same reason? Was it the fall, or was it something that occurred beforehand? And that mystery probably protects some of the nations around the Dweghom, because they don't know exactly who is responsible on the other side of the coin.
Exactly. So, and you can never tell how the Dweghom will interpret historical events. I think that is the danger, and I think that is why they are feared. Okay, of course, their military prowess, but what makes them even more dangerous in the eyes, I think, of people who have only now come to realize what a powerful force any Dweghom host can be. I think that's exactly the trick, that you can never kind of predict their patterns, because their mentality is so different from humans in certain ways, and especially in certain things, and definitely very different from the exiles, that you cannot really predict what your enemy will do. Maybe that would be an interesting thing to explore, and theme to explore later on, that some human or exile or Nord or whatever general begins to understand Dweghom a little more. And that has happened in the past. As we know, Dweghom Ishti, that is also mentioned, the Steel Mancer that was leading one of the clans, did coordinate with the orders to repel the undead attack immediately after the fall. And what happened to her? Nobody knows. And this time we can be kind of certain that it was also a little deliberate, that we don't know.
Yeah, I was going to ask about Ishti, because it leaves, you can almost see the ellipses forming in the air when you're reading it, with the fact that that they disappeared, and that's part and parcel of this whole spotlight. It's the worst thing that could happen, not the fact that the clan was wiped out, because then there would be a definite ending. There would be the finish at the end of their ledger. But this idea that they've gone and fighting against the undead, it opens an interesting world of possibilities for potential in the future. Will we see unusual undead Dweghom? Will they reappear at some point? When somebody's threatened, having
Who
been
knows?
waging a war.
Very...
It's your terrible tease. But yeah, I really like the idea that a whole group just sort of sided with the humans and then disappeared into I suppose history for the time being, but they will return when they're most needed.
I think,
yeah.
if I may just add one more thing, I think this is a difference that kind of underlines the Dweghom mentality. The 3 clans that were simply probably annihilated by the fall itself, but no one remembers, no one is alive that remembers, they are a thing of sadness for the Dweghom. For any Dweghom that knows this memory, they are a thing of sadness. The ones that Ishti led, that their fate is not even hinted at, in the sense that we know they fought with the humans, and we know that the humans are still there, and they have these big walls that are obviously based on designs offered by the Dweghom, and they have these huge temples that possibly were helped to design by the Dweghom, but we don't see any Dweghom. And it is exactly that difference that makes the Dweghom not feel sad about Ishti. There is the same kind of question mark, but they suspect that this was a choice. And if it's a choice, they're just waiting to see where that choice led. If it is a tragedy or an unknown glorious end, that is a sad thing that we don't remember. But if it's a choice, then we wait to see where that choice leads. There's nothing sad about that.
Yeah. It's fascinating. Like I say, a somewhat mournful spotlight, but pregnant with possibilities, and opens the world up a bit further for people to explore from the point of view of the Dweghom. Fascinating stuff once again, Konstantinos. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. If
Thank
people
you for having me.
are interested, you can go over to the Para Bellum website right now and check out No End to Their Memories in the Spotlight, and let us know what you think of the possibilities for the Dweghom in the future. Bye-bye.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.